Like you've probably noticed, I spend most of my time creating Pokemon-related artworks specifically for content purposes. Though, after a while, it can get a bit stale without any shakeup. So, to give myself a challenge and see what being a Pokemon Fiverr artist looks like these days, I'll go undercover as an artist on the site for 3 weeks to see if it's worth doing in 2024, while refraining from using any money for advantages to keep this as authentic as possible. But on that note, it's finally time to go undercover as a Fiverr Pokemon artist. Of course, we can't actually provide services if we don't have an account. So in no time, I signed up and got to creating the profile. Not being able to stop myself, I make a little cheeky homophone-like username, which just is the word undercover, spelled out the same way any parent that ends up naming their kid like this does. I also create a simple profile picture that will match my service and also matches the username if you notice it. But soon after I write the description, fill out extra info, and then finally get to creating my first service, which, like you could expect, is a post for Gen 3 to 5 sprites. Filling out every required field and using sprites that haven't appeared in any videos or are too obscure to be recognized as mine, I get left with a simple verification, which I just... Oh, okay, let me just try again. Of course, it couldn't be that simple. Thanks to Fiverr's quirkiness, day 1 ends just like that. No choice but to see you on day 2. Trying to get it working before the 24 hours are over, I, no surprise, end up running into the same wall as yesterday, though this time getting ignored and being left without a direct message about it not working out. The same as that one Tinder experience that you've definitely had. Being left to fend for myself, I create another post for the other gig I intended to do, while hoping that maybe this would refresh something or something. But you already know the result. Dropping it and returning to it a few hours later, the verification finally is successful, which leads me to finally being able to make the gigs public. With that being said, it's now time for the waiting game.
2 hours later.
Well, isn't that lovely? Turns out, Fiverr didn't like what I was doing or sniffed out what my plan was. So, before this video turns into just the journey of trying to get a page set up, I retry by making a whole new Google account to make a new Fiverr page, act more discreet with the name and profile, while keeping a hint of the original in the username, create more cleaner and professional descriptions and material for the gig in case that was the original issue. And just like that, let's act like nothing happened and see what's next. So yeah, like you would expect, a whole day passed, and the best I got was 5 impressions. So to get some actual movement, I severely reduced the price of my gig with the hope of getting our first client, which should help with our test going onwards. And to not shoot myself severely in the foot, I also limited the amount of people that can purchase the gig for now. So let's see if this strategy works out. Another day passed, yet there's still no results. Well, time to implement some extra strategies. To get some extra eyes on my gig and hopefully grab the attention of a possible first customer, I create a Reddit account with the same fresh Google account as before, then go around posting about my services on relevant subreddits, while trying to not be too obnoxious. Of course, multiple posts were taken down instantly due to it being a new account or having an external link in the post, but at least one or two got through. Let's see if it helps our matters. After a week of waiting, while fine-tuning aspects of the post to boost my chances, out of the blue, I suddenly received a message from a buyer in regards to using my services for non-Pokemon creatures. After learning what our dear pal here was looking to acquire, that took a day thanks to time zones, I learned that I would need to create a Gen 5 style sprite, but with special parameters for whatever the client was planning to use the sprites for. After eventually receiving art for the design that I'll need to actually make the sprite for, I went ahead and sent them an offer, which, after accepting, we will be able to actually say that we got our first client. With the order now being accepted and a clear description on what I need to do, I finally begin the gig fulfilling process, heavily basing the sprite, of course, on the submitted design. I quickly get to work by making it bigger in size than what I usually do to match the sent examples, which makes this already be a bit more different than usual. After a slight adjustment period, I get through the static sprite creation process, which lets me begin work on the animation part. Though, to be honest, I did not expect that the 24 frame limitation would have that much of an impact on the final result, especially for something as stereotypically slow as sleeping and yawning. Nonetheless, I send off this and an alternate slower version to the buyer with the expectation of asking for a fix or a revision. Guess what? Everything turned out pretty well, with the customer being satisfied enough to already say that it's perfect for delivery, and that they would like to also do the back sprite. At that same moment, I send both versions as finished products and start waiting for the result, which will be followed up with a few unexpected days added on top for the other sprite. And in case you're curious, here's what my gig's stats look like after 17 days. Though while I was waiting, I actually found something pretty cool myself. Turns out, if you go over to a special site, you can find things like learning early about what videos I'm doing, direct access to all my work, take part in the video creations, and much more that you can find out down below. Now, let's see what the buyer says. Well, would you look at that? Our dear client here was so satisfied with the results that not only we got a 5-star rating across the board, but a nice little $10 tip on top. Better yet, we get to continue this experiment a bit longer with the previously mentioned backsprite for the same Fakemon. Though we have to wait a bit until he accepts the offer. Though now that we have earnings that we can use as an example, I wanted to showcase the outrageous cuts that Fiverr takes, especially when it comes to tips. Now, $2 may not seem much in this scenario, but take in mind that $2 from 10 comes out to be 20%. So, if it was a tip of $200 for an example, then Fiverr would take $40 as a fee. From the base price, sure, whatever. But taking tips, that's one of the main reasons I left Fiverr in my early spriting days in the first place. With the order now being accepted, I get straight into business and start creating the bag sprite. Having the process of finding the perfect palette and scale for the design already done, all I'm left with is just guiding the design through its transition process, which, with a simple process of getting a correct perspective, then making the sprite look good enough while not sabotaging the animation process, the task goes along successfully, allowing us to deliver the final product in no time. While we wait for the response, what do you think of this guy? Let me know in the comments. Right as I was getting ready to be done for the day, the client reviews and accepts the delivery. I give the buyer 5 stars, yes, that's a thing, while he himself gives me 5 stars across the board and actually a sweet review in addition, which left me with a fuzzy feeling. But before the day ends, it's already time to discuss, offer, and start work on the next design, the Fakemon's evolution. Keeping in mind how the buyer wants me to make it move and attack, I start making the 24 idle frame and 8 attack frame sprite, using the same methods as before, but with an advanced version of the design this time. I grant the Fakemon a more imposing pose rather than the one it was already depicted with. Yet, when it comes to the rest of the design, all I can say is that I attempted to make it in the Gen 5 style form to the best of my abilities. But saying anything more would be just redundant. So on that note, here's what I ended up creating. As for the back sprite, after a good night's rest and doing some IRL errands, I get back to the grind by immediately beginning work on the other sprite. With the same good old tactics as mentioned before, while also having the sweet addition of not needing to worry about the color palette again, just like for the front sprite, forgot to mention that. Although I usually just create the front sprites, Making the back versions is easier than I expected, since most of the time you get to hide away more details rather than the other way around. But after an animation process that I'm slowly starting to get used to with all the limitations included, we end up with something that looks like this. Better yet, that means it's time to deliver the sprites and see what a client has to say. And just like that, our final order has been completed. But before we part ways, I get the opportunity to learn about the project they will use the sprites for, which is a passion project that's a darker take on the monster tamer genre. Though catching me off guard, the client offers to credit me as one of the artists for the game, while also asking if I have a different name that I would prefer to have written down. And of course, I slipped the channel name in with no hesitation. It's not like I expected to be recognized, but instead having my alias be dropped right as we end this experiment seemed poetic to me, so why would I not? Oh, turns out they know me after all. That's cool. So, after 3 full weeks of spending my time being an undercover artist on Fiverr, what have I learned from this experience? Well, first of all, Fiverr in 2024 is definitely nowhere near the best option for starting out artists at all, especially when it comes to pay. Not only do you have to be comfortable with low prices to have a chance, but that same exact money you get drops quite a bit before it even gets into your hands. And that's already bad, without talking about dying traffic on the site and poor advertising. Though communication options is pretty good for what it is, to be honest. While you can also really get as niche as you want when it comes to what you offer. So if you find a good market, that's something that could be counted as underrated. Overall, I would give the Fiverr route a rating of 6 out of 10. As for alternatives, I would probably browse dedicated Discord servers or subreddits for a better chance and pay. Hell, maybe I could even cover it myself in another video. Anyways, that does it for today. Big thanks to my patrons, follow my Twitter and stay tuned for more.